Afternoon peeps, good afternoon everyone. How's everyone doing? Hopefully you guys are all doing well. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, like, share, subscribe. Quick reminder, we are going live tonight 8 p.m. So if you're not busy, pass by. It should be fun. They always are fun. Loads of questions come in and I try my best to answer every single question. We're going to go live for about an hour and a half. So if you're not busy, 8 o'clock tonight, pass by for the live. All right, let's talk about the boxing that happened last night, early hours of this morning. Loads of boxing all over the place. Queensbury put a card on, headlined by Brad Pauls versus Denzel Bentley. Matchroom had a card in Puerto Rico, headlined by Paro versus Richardson Hitchins. And Top Rank had a card as well, headlined by Oscar Valdez, the rematch between Oscar Valdez and Emmanuel Navarrete. DAZN also had a card, I think it was in Bulgaria, Emmanuel Charles versus Kubrat Pulev. I've not watched that fight. I'm not sure if I'm going to watch that fight, but I know that Kubrat Pulev won. I think it was on points. I do want to start with the Top Rank card because I've just literally watched that one. Oscar Valdez versus Emmanuel Navarrete. They fought August 2023 and it was a points win for Navarrete. He didn't need the judges this time. He destroyed Oscar Valdez. Navarrete, especially at 130 pounds, is a problem. He's a big problem. 135 pounds, you might be able to outbully him, outman him. At 130, when he balloons up in weight, he is just a whirlwind, a force. Like, you're going to need dynamite in your hands, or you're going to need to be a fleet-footed boxer. And unfortunately, Oscar Valdez is neither of those things. Oscar Valdez is a very good boxer, but he doesn't have the power to keep you off, and he likes to get involved in a fight, and he doesn't have, not anymore anyway. He did when he was coming through, but he doesn't have the feet to get out of trouble. He just doesn't. And if you don't have those things against Navarrete, he's just going to outman you. And that's what he did. He's so awkward. Like, technically, I don't even know how you prepare for him, because technically the punches come from all over the place. He does throw quite a lot of illegal punches, which he gets away with. Like, he punched Oscar Valdez on the back of the head so many times. The referee warns him but doesn't take a point away. So he just continues to do it. But taking that aside, he is just, again, at 130, he's a bit of an issue. Obviously, we saw his fight against Berenchik at 135. Okay, fair, right? You might be just a bit too big for him. And look, he gives you an opportunity. I mean, there were moments in that fight where Valdez had opportunities, but he just walks through you. Honestly, he walks through you, and good luck fighting him at 130. I mean, there are some good 130 fighters, but you need something. You need more. You can't just be a good 130 fighter. You're going to need, again, I think, something fucking there to chin him with, or you're going to need to outbox him. But even if you outbox him, can you outbox him for 12 rounds without him getting to you? I don't know, man. Honestly, I don't know. I do wonder what next happens with Valdez. That's his first stoppage defeat, but it was a bad one. It was a bad one. He almost looked a bit too small for the weight, or just maybe because Navarrete looked so big, I don't know. But yeah, I'm not quite sure what next for Valdez. For Navarrete, I mean, good luck to the other champions at 130, because again, that's a whirlwind. Paro versus Richardson Hitchins. I mean, the judge that gave it 117, 111, Paro. I mean, you guys know I always talk about judging on this show, and I don't know what you do about it, honestly. In the end, we're lucky because the right man won and deserved to win. But I mean, what's that judge looking at? I mean, what's that judge watching? I thought the first 4 rounds were quite cagey, and I thought you could almost split the first 4. Hitchins had a really good round 5 and a really good round 7. And then I thought Hitchins was just doing good work. I mean, Paro was coming forward, but as he lunged in, and he was lunging in. Look, Paro's got a style where he kind of has a look on his toes and then jumps in. And Hitchins started to read that. So as he's lunging in, Hitchins is kind of falling back with hooks. He's landing straight shots. Hitchins was scoring really good shots. And I can kind of see how a judge might give Paro a round, because Paro looks like he's kind of forcing the action, but Hitchins is clearly landing the better shots. And I almost felt like the first 4 or 5 rounds, Hitchins is having a look because he's a southpaw, Paro's a good fighter. But then after that, I thought Hitchins controlled that fight well. And again, 117, 111 Paro is actually quite scary. Honestly, it's quite scary. Some rounds, are swing rounds. You're like, who won that one? But there wasn't many swing rounds, I thought. I thought the rounds that Hitchins won. The rounds that Paro won. I didn't think there were any super close rounds here. So I kind of give you a benefit of a doubt when they're super close, like a Beterbiev Bivol, and it's kind of what you like. There weren't super close rounds. I thought Hitchins was just fighting on the back foot better, on the front foot better. Hitchins looked really big at the weight as well. And I do wonder what happens with, remember Hitchins had that bet with Paro's manager, whose name has literally just skipped me. And I see him and I speak to him all the time. Katie Taylor's manager, Brian Peters. Don't know why that skipped me. I do wonder if Brian Peters pays up that 200,000. Was it a legit bet? Because if he has had a legit bet, I mean, fucking it's lottery numbers for Richardson Hitchins. He wants Teofimo Lopez next. He thinks that's the big fight for New York. I think it's a big fight as well. Champion versus champion. It's the kind of fights we should be having. But all of a sudden, the 140 division has been turned on its head a little bit again. It's all over the place. Like, who is the ruler of the 140-pound division? I want to say Teofimo is still that guy, but you got to be busy, you got to be fighting. But there are some real exciting fights. Liam Paro will be in really exciting fights as well. It looks like we are going to get Jack Catterall versus Arnold Barboza in the UK in February. The winner of that fight, I guess, is in line to fight Teofimo Lopez. It's just a case of what does Teo do next? For me, he fights Richardson Hitchins, but we'll see. All right, let's talk about the fight card. In the UK, I didn't watch all of it. It's a long fight card, quite a lot of fights. But the ones I did watch were the ones that I think were the big talking points. David Adeleye stopping Solomon Dakers in the first round. I said that Solomon starts too slow. David Adeleye is very, very aggressive early. And if you don't put it on him, he's going to put it on you. And I think we saw what happened. That shot on the top of the temple, which messes up your equilibrium, those shots have killed so many fighters. I mean, so many fighters cannot recover from those shots. And Solomon Dakers, credit to him, tried to get up, but there was nothing there. I didn't see a post-fight interview or didn't watch the post-fight interview from David Adeleye, so I don't know who he called out. But this is it now, right? You're back in the mix. It was a big win, a very important win for him as well. I said if he loses this, it's a long way back. And I think he understood the assignment and he was very, very good. As was Denzel Bentley. I thought Denzel Bentley was very good against Brad Pauls. I thought Bentley started so well, maybe first 4-5 rounds if I remember correctly. Brad Pauls won the middle rounds and then Denzel Bentley sort of found a way to kind of close the show and close the show well. Very interested to see what Bentley does next. I mean, look, he puts himself in a position where he might get another crack at Alam Kanali. Does he want to right the wrong against Nathan Heaney? I don't think he wants to stay at British level anymore. Obviously, Hamza Shiraz is fighting Carlos Adames. Is Hamza Shiraz Denzel Bentley a big enough fight for Hamza if Hamza beats Carlos? I mean, there's a lot of ifs and buts and movements here, but very interested to see what he does next. Hamza Shiraz is the one. Hamza Shiraz fight is a bigger, if Hamza Shiraz wins, by the way, is a much bigger fight than fighting Alam Kanani because it's a world title fight and it's a fellow Brit. I think that's a big fight. So, look, Denzel Bentley's there. It's a good win. And whatever next is going to be big. I do want to talk about Lawrence Okolie. I spoke to Lawrence, or at least I exchanged messages with him after the fight saying, dude, look, I can't lie, I was worried about this weight. And he did say that he's going to come down in weight, but he said he still felt light on his feet. I wanted to respond and say, yeah, you felt light on your feet because it was the very first fucking round, dude. I was concerned if it went a bit longer. I know there was a few people that messaged me saying, you were wrong about the weight. No. I was concerned if that fight went 6 or 7. I think Lawrence in the first 3 or 4 would be as Lawrence is at cruiserweight. But I was a bit like, okay, if this goes past 4 or 5, that weight's a lot. It didn't go past 4 or 5. It went in the very first round. That was a beautiful shot from Lawrence. He was on the front foot from the beginning and then just set his opponent up and then bang. And look, Lawrence at 260 is going to carry a lot of power. And I think he's going to be a bit of a problem once he gets this weight correct and right for a lot of heavyweights. Because Lawrence is as big as them. And he knows he's got the power, like most heavyweights, to put you to sleep. So Lawrence is a very good addition to the. And look, say what you want to say about Lawrence's style. And I'm not saying this as a friend of Lawrence, but say you want, he's known. People know who he is. So almost just by default, he will be in good fights. He will get good fights. He's a former cruiserweight champion. I don't know what stock you put into the bridgerweight, but he's a former bridgerweight champion. So he is a 2-weight world champion. I don't put much stock into the bridgerweight belt, but the facts are the facts. So look, I think Lawrence is going to line himself up for a good fight. If I had my choice of opponents for Lawrence, number 1 would be Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte fights next week, I believe, in Gibraltar. Dillian Whyte would be number 1. Obviously, they had their little thing a few years back. Dillian Whyte needs a name. Lawrence is a name. There's a bit of history between the two. I wouldn't mind that. So number 1 would be Dillian Whyte. Number 2, I don't know if he can get this one, would be Fabio Wardley. And number 3, don't know. I'm not quite sure. Like, Cabiel is a risky one. Like, Cabiel, basically, I was going to say the loser of Zhang Cabiel. I think Zhang might beat Cabiel. So I think Cabiel could be a good fight for him as well. Cabiel's a good boxer, but he's not the biggest heavyweight. He's busy, and look, you'd make him favourite to beat Lawrence. But if Lawrence wants to kind of jump quick into this sort of world title mix, then Cabiel's a good name to fight. So look, whatever option he goes, he's got options. That's the thing now with Lawrence. He's got options. He needed to look good. He needed to put on a good performance. First time at heavyweight, first time with Queensberry, and both of those boxes were ticked. So well done to Lawrence Okolie. All right, let's have a quick look and see if there's anything else to talk about. 2 seconds. This is interesting. This is an interesting title, but the first part's interesting. Obviously, the second part's obviously a bit more emotional for Zelfa. World title negotiations may break down, but nothing hurts Zelfa Barrett like the death of his mother. It goes without saying. But the first part there about world title negotiations break down. Obviously, Zelfa Barrett was linked heavily to the Shakur Stevenson fight. I don't know if his name was brought up. This is the first time round, by the way. The one that Joe Cordina was supposed to have. What's going on with Zelfa? Like, it feels like it's been ages since his last fight. I'm going to go early in the year. When was it again? Let's have a look. And I thought it was a really good performance as well against Jordan Gill. That was April. So Zelfa had 2 fights in 23 and so far 1 fight in 24, and it's going to be 1 fight in 24 because unless he's going to be chucked on something lastminute.com, which I doubt. Zelfa needs to get in the ring. Zelfa needs to get in the ring. He's 31 now. He needs to be having some fights, some good fights. I mentioned Navarrete. I mean, look, I know it's a risky one, but sometimes you got to go for those fights if they are put on your table. Shakur Stevenson, you got to go for those fights if those are put on your table. I don't know. Anything else? I think that is it. Oh, this is interesting. Israel Madrimov is now out of the Boychuk fight due to illness. Sure. Okay. I see what's happened here. Ishmael Davis has stepped in. Lastminute.com. I mean, hopefully Ishmael certainly was training. And Ishmael has been speaking about fighting on the December card. I remember in an interview, I'm sure he said it. So I do wonder if he was always sort of the backup or being spoken about for this card. So hopefully he has been training because it's a massive opportunity. But it can't be, you can't be getting lastminute.com opportunities all the time. Do you know what I mean? You have to look at them. Obviously, lastminute.com opportunity last time out and nearly won, right? The last round was interesting. And this is very lastminute.com now against a better opponent in Boychuk, I think. I think Boychuk's more seasoned, if you like, than Josh Kelly. But this is at 154 pounds, which is Ishmael Davis's weight. We'll see. It's a good opportunity, but it's a risky one. But look, he's co-main event for Fury Usyk. Fucking hell, bruv. You don't turn these fights down. Peace.